Okay, so in this session we are going to continue with the ear. We've got quite a lot of the colour down, so it was a bit sort of fiddly on the previous one, but we managed to lay down all the important colour, and what we're doing now is we're going to be adding in some more colour and some more detail around here. So I'm just going to, that's better, too much light on it makes it too bright. Okay, so what I was thinking of doing first is I've got the Derwent Drawing Black, and there it is there. Oh, there we go. So it's, if you I've used it before on that ear and in there, and it's a lovely soft pencil. It's got a thick core, and I think what we're going to do is, so that we can define some of the fur a lot better in here, I'm just going to use this in certain areas here. Just so that we can get some definition, so you can already see the depth of it. And we're just going to go with the shape of the ear. So this is the bit that's coming down. That's like this side of the ear. We don't particularly want to go all, completely block out the light colour. So I'm just going to put the sanguine in there. Just so that we can see it better. Okay. Right. So if I'm going, what I'm actually going to do is, I just want to take some of this out a moment. Just subtract it. You can, as I say, if you haven't got one of these, just use your rubber that's actually in your subscription box. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with this again with sanguine. So that's your yeah, like I said on the previous video, it's very similar to the terracotta. There's not much difference in the shade, so where you can use a brown and an orange for this one, I would say probably going a bit lighter. You might be able to mix in lightly with a white as well, but have a practice on a different set of paper for a swatch, and then you can, once you've done it, you can label it to sort of say that's the colour that you've used on that piece of paper, just in case you were to need it for another project if you didn't have one. Okay. Right. And we are going to use the watercolour pencil today. Just to sort of do the highlights, and then we're going to do something else with this as well. It's a bit pinky at the moment with that bit, but I want to make it with put some light brown in it. So I think with that I'm going to use one of the luminous ones once we've finished around here. But as you can see with where I've used the Derwent Drawing Ivory Black, it's really sort of added some depth into it already. Just gonna, that's it, go around like that, because what I want to do is this one has, you can see the separation in the fur. This one you can't quite see it as much. Just gonna slightly lift out some of that colour, because although we wanted to define it, I think it's slightly too dark at the moment. Okay. And I think because it's a bit lighter there, I just want to go in and use this colour rather than the sepia, which is what we used yesterday, and just give it the sensation of like different strands of fur. But we're going to highlight it with the Museum Aquarelle watercolour pencil, which you'll have in your subscription boxes. So just very lightly following the direction of the fur, just gradually building up that colour. And then what I want to do is go in with the ivory black drawing. What you can do is, if you don't have that, and you don't have one of the Pablo blacks, then just go ahead and use either the Polychromos black or the black that's in your pack. Excuse me, because with those, if you know, obviously this one's thicker and softer, so it's going to come out darker. So what you might have to do is be very careful and just keep layering it in, so it gets dark enough. I tend to use the ivory black quite a lot in some of my drawings, so I think what I'll probably do is, with some of the one of the subscription boxes that's coming up, I'll add this as part of the materials. So we're just going lightly because this is quite a dark one anyway. Just want to bring that over there because it has got some dark coming through. Okay. Just gonna have a drink of water. Okay, so I'm going to use the Museum Aquarelle, the watercolour pencil. So what I'm going to do is just lick my finger, actually the hand that you're not using, just, oh, there you go, like that, and then just so it gently wets the end. So we just want to add a bit of the highlight to it. So it's quite light over here. and then once it's in, then I can we can add some colour around it. So this is quite light around here. And we can add some other colour in with it, but it's just predominantly a very light colour around here. And we just want to bring it in together. And you know, it washes off really quickly, just rubs it off. So this bit around here is quite light. And then I'm just going to wet the end of the pencil again. If you don't want to do it on your, you know, wet it on your finger, then just lightly dip it in some water. And we're just going to go through and do some wisps here as well. Bring that down a bit there. So what it's doing is, although we've got the dark underneath, we're actually lighting in it a shade, so it's not so glaringly, you know, bold. And the Museum Aquarelle is great for when it's dry as well. I mean, especially if you use it on drafting film, you can get a really good light texture on it, and it's really good. Like the Drawing Black, I'd say that this is one of my favourites as well. The I think it's the China White in the Derwent Drawing is another good one. That and the White Pablo, but I really enjoyed using this one. I go through quite a lot, so I've generally got off quite a few in my possession, so that, you know, just in case. So it's actually looking quite light on there. So what I'm going to do is add some more colour to it. Okay. And we want to go down that way. Yeah, my favourite surface for using this on is generally the drafting film. I mean, that is such a good surface to use, and we'll be using that in a later tutorial. You can get different types of drafting film. So I mean, you can get graphics. I mean, I've got a huge roll of it here. You can you also use Polydraw, and you can get a pad of 15 sheets, and that's really good value. So I started off with that just to sort of get used to it. Some people use Duralar, and you know, some people like it, but it's not one of the, I don't think it's one of the preferred drafting films to use, because it's a lot more difficult to get a good effect out of it. Just going to use the Warm Earth 40% on the luminance. So there we go. So that's like a light brown. I mean, this one's quite a creamy one, creamy texture, but you can use the light brown that's in your own selection if you haven't got this, and just go over it on top. Just add a a tinge of sort of shade of colour so that you can actually see, you know, the lines of the fur, but obviously don't go all over because some of it's light and some of it's dark. And then what it does, it just blends into the light colour. And then just go over this bit as well, because it was a bit light there, so I just really want to make it a bit sort of darker. But I think as well, once we've added in this shade, I think what I'd like to sort of go in and use the Pablo brownish beige. So all the while whilst I'm drawing this, I keep referring back to the reference photo. So you've got the reference photo on the welcome postcard, on the back of that, and you can also obviously take a photo of it so you can have it on your smartphone or tablet or computer, and then you can keep you can enlarge it and keep referring to it just to make sure that you've got the right colours and you're going in the right direction, or as near as you can get to the colours. It's never going to be exact because we're actually using our own interpretation of the colour. So just gradually build up the layer that you've already got there, and it sort of goes, as it's coming up round here, it sort of goes darker around there. But we're going to actually do the subtraction technique on this in about a moment anyway, just so that you can see the definition of the fur. Just going to go around here to add a bit more depth to this colour, but just remember this is the really light part, so we're just gonna do the darker bit under here. And yeah, so we want to build up around there as well. I mean, this is going to be quite a browny shade around here. Whilst this area isn't like totally perfect or as, you know, as ideal as I would like it to be, I'm actually happy with how it's looking because it's coming into balance with the other ear. And then we'll be able to see it a bit better once we've added this bit in. So we'll just work on this part for the moment, and then we can tweak it a bit if we need to. Because what we don't want is, once we've all fully completed it and added all the colour, we don't want this all to be looking like it's one colour, because there's definitely some darker bits around here and around here, and then it goes, you've got some more of the lighter orangey colour around here and orangey browny around here. So what we'll be able to do afterwards is just go in and just enrich the colour a bit more. So we're just going to do the edge of this at the moment because this is the outside bit and it's darker. So we're going to go in as if we're going in underneath. So when we add this part, it's going to go over the top. You can just use like round shape, like circles, lightly whilst you're doing the outside bit, and just do it lightly. Because we're adding the base colour, but there's also a definition of the fur there as well, so we're just bringing in the colours that we need. And around there. Under there it's slightly darker, so we'll go in with that colour in a moment. But we'll just gradually build this bit up here. Because then if you look at it, it sort of goes over that way as well. And then just follow the shape of that base of the ear. Because on that side, this bit is more defined than that part there. So I think, you know, we've done the right idea with adding the sanguine on the base and the cinnamon when we did it, because it's giving that warm colour. I don't particularly want it to just to be a line there, so just gonna go outside of that line and add some fur texture to it. Right. For those of you that are reasonably new to drawing animals in colour pencils, you might sort of think, oh, there's a lot of steps to this, but it's, you know, you don't have to do it all in one go. Something you can just do bits each day. but it's really is worth investing in the time to get all the different textures and colours in. But and that's a good thing about following a tutorial on a video, is that you don't have to do each step in one go. So some of these I mean, for instance, yesterday's video was an hour and a half. Now you don't necessarily have to take an hour and a half out of your day and just sit there and solidly do that. You may want to. It definitely doesn't actually feel like it's an hour and a half. But then there's some days where you think, well, I've only got a few minutes today, but I'd like to do a bit of drawing, and you may just only, do about 15-20 minutes of it, or maybe less. But the good thing is with like learning a new skill, or sharpening your skills, is little and often works really well. And just if you can do a little bit every day, that's perfect. I mean, there's a different box each month, but even if you don't do this all in each session in one go, you'll still get it all finished before the next one comes. Or what you can do is, if you want to break and wait for the next one, you can do that, and then you can come back to it, because with the subscription comes the access to the tutorials, so you've got plenty of time and you can do it all in your own time. So if you find you're going away on holiday for a week or two, and you can't take your drawings, your art equipment with you, then you can come back and do it another time. And that's the beauty of a subscription, rather than yes, it would be nice, I suppose, to learn in a class, but sometimes life's a bit too hectic to be able to do that, and so this is all about like learning a new skill on the go, and it's a lot more affordable. You don't have to have the experience, whereas if you wanted to do, I don't know, like a fine art degree, then you would have to have some kind of drawing skill under your belt. And who knows, after doing this for quite a while, you decide that maybe that's something you'd like to do at a later date. Just want to add a bit more of this actually up here. That's it, because then it's a bit more, it blends a bit more, and then it comes out to the lighter part that way, just very lightly. I just want to bring some of this in through here as well. So just do that as if you're going straight up into the ear. Just wondering whether to put another light on. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, there we go. This time of year, although it's not getting dark too early, sometimes it's like, you start off doing a drawing, then suddenly the light changes in the room, and then you need a bit more light to see the colours. Just trying to decide which colour I want to use next. It's got to be a brown. I'm just wondering whether I want to go in and add a bit more of the sanguine. Because it's going to need some darker bits in you know, in places. So around here, that's where that's where a dark bit's going to be, because you've got that bit. Just want to plot a line. Because that's going to be we've got that bit there. Just want to sort of lightly plot bits where the eye's going to start and where the actual brow's going to lead into it. Just so that I know how far down to come. So that, just plotting that part in. That's all we need to do for the moment. And then down there. So when we're just plotting, we still need to go in with the line of how the direction of how the fur is going. So then it goes lighter and fluffier there, and then so we've got that part. Then it goes just trying to plot the bits for the, because this is going to be the over part, and I just want to get that in so then I know how far to bring this part in, because at the moment that's too light, because it needs to be a bit darker. So when it comes to it, it may be that we lift out some of that colour and add, you know, some deeper colours around to it, because that's got the same balance of colour as that, and it's not looking the same at the moment, but that's okay. We can work on that as once we complete everything. Right. Okay, so we've got that part there, and it comes in. Need to add that in there. See, this is going to be a bit lighter in a minute. I just want to plot in the direction of where that goes. And so we've got that. That's where that bit there. So then what we need to do is add a bit more to the brow there. Just want to sort of plot the lines of the position of everything, and then it will be all blended in once we've added all the colour and the different shades and the subtraction. So I mean, this is going to be a bit, I'm going to raise the the redness of this part here, but it comes down that way. that's when it starts to kick out a bit, and then it comes down around here. Just want to blend that in a bit more, and then we can define it in a moment. Yeah, that's looking more like it. It always makes a difference when, you know, when you've got something that stands alone like that has. Add in more context. So we've been plotting this part and then building this part of the ear up, adding more context to it and more colour. It really starts to sort of fit in, and the proportions start to come in and come together. I've got too much stuff under this desk, just bear with me. There, that's better. Okay. Just always make sure that you have enough room to work in and that you're not too cramped. Okay, that's that. So we're going lightly over this so that we can add more tone. And yeah, so like that. So as you can see, even just doing this part here, it's already bringing more life around the eye, which I'm really pleased with. So yeah, this is going really well. What I might do is, once I've done this, I might get a little frame to put it in. Excuse me, and then use some command strips to put it up in, you know, on the wall in my art room. Because, you know, it's always nice to sort of see what you've done, and, you know, you can appreciate it, and it looks, you know, it looks amazing when it's all framed and up on your wall. Right, so I just want to add a bit more. Just trying to look at the colour that I want. I want to actually add a bit more of the sanguine into this, but then I also want to, because it needs to be brighter around here. So this is where you do your lights over darks, and Polychromos pencils are very good for that. So we've used, like, you know, the Pablo on this, and it's, I don't think it's like as hard you know, colour as a harder lead as the you know, the Polychromos, but this is actually adding in a nice shade to it. And you can just about make out that it's kind of like got a bit of a roundness to this part. So we're just going to be bringing in different shades just to sort of accentuate that part. There is a lighter bit there, which So it's kind of like got the granite pink, sorry, the granite rose Pablo. It's got kind of got that vibe to it. I'm just going to add a bit of slight sharpness to this. There we go. So I just want to see if I can, what I'm going to do is just going to lift out a bit of that. I mean, the good thing about doing, you know, a tutorial like this in stages is that you're working on a specific area. Excuse me, and then as you move around, you can just see it come into life on the screen. I mean, I always, like I said, do the eyes first, and you know, the eyes tend to look amazing, but then it's not until you add the context and texture around the eyes and then start building that it really sort of comes into its own. Some people, I know there's one artist on Instagram, he doesn't like putting, when even like when he's actually drawing the human eye, he won't he'll put the pupil part in last because of, you know, obviously because if you're doing it really well, it looks like the eye's looking at you. And I think from what I remember reading is that it kind of puts him off a bit. Whereas I quite like to, I can see what he means with that, because when I was drawing human portraits in graphite pencil, depending on what you're drawing, sometimes it really does feel that the portrait's looking at you. So once I've actually added that in and finished working on that area, I tend to sort of cover it up until I'm ready to, you know, look it in the context of the whole picture. But for me, starting with the eyes is important. So I'm just gonna plot these bits in. It's very light, this pencil. But it's just going to help us. So I'm just using light flicking motion. Just to sort of get in some of the base colour. So you can't really sort of see it, I don't think, on the camera yet, but it is faint. But if you're plotting it, you'll be able to see it in front of you. Just to, so if you're building it up there, you can actually see it. But it is quite light, which is what it's meant to be. This one's actually really good for blending colours as well. So and like burnishing. So like when you've actually plotted your colours in, you can actually just go over it and just blend it and make it smoother. But because this is an animal with fur, we don't want it blended as such, because we want to keep the detail of the fur. So I'm just going to go to that part because that bit needs to come under a bit more. Just add in a bit more, because this fluff here of the fur is light behind it. You don't really want it to be bright, you know, you can see it, but you don't want it to be white, because if you look at it, it has got that kind of pinky tinge to it. Just going to add a bit more up here as well. So what I'm going to do here is it's going to get one of the lighter polychromos, not the polychromos, sorry, the luminance. Just having a look. I wonder if the brown ochre 10% will do it. I mean, this is kind of like a real creamy colour, so it's kind of like a, it's not quite cream, I'd say it's probably slightly darker than that. And I'm just gonna just add a bit more colour, but I don't want it to look yellow, I just want to add some underneath texture to it. What we're going to do once we've added this bit in, and because we're flicking it up into that ear like we've done there, then we'll use the subtraction technique and we'll be able to sort of go through and you'll be able to see the different layers of the pencil, which is what you can, what you can see here. Just going to add a few more bits into there, because yeah, just be aware that you're following the line of the fur. Like that. Okay, and so yeah, then I want to add something a bit darker than that. So I'm thinking the warmer 40% again. So but if you haven't got that, then just use a light brown. And just go in very lightly like that. And just look at the way that the fur is going in the direction of the ear. I wonder what that noise is. So just go over like that. See, it's gradually building up there now. You can see the shape of that ear as well. Obviously it's not finished, but I just wanted to get the shape of it going round, so that now I can add this part and then I can carry on doing the bit underneath. Just going to plot in this part as well. It's going to be more vibrant than that, but and it's going to get darker as we go around here. But I just want to get some like pigment down. And don't be too worried about the excuse me, the colour of yours compared to mine, because we have to take into account the pencils that each one of us are using, the surface that we're working on, not just, for instance, not just the paper but the actual surface. I mean, if you're doing it in your sketchbook, then it's going to come out different, you know, different lighting, different, you know, settings on your video. So yeah, don't worry too much, just, you know, just go with it, making sure you're layering up and going into the direction that the fur is going, and you'll be fine. Okay. Right, it's good to keep hydrated as well. I like to keep a bottle of water beside me whilst I'm drawing. You can see it's gradually building up there. So this is the lighter part. And it's quite dark in there as well. More of like reddy browns. So I think we'll use the might use the Venetian red and the Caput Mortuum in there. Let's bring that in there. Because it is quite round, that part. Just building up lightly like that, you can just see all the colours coming in, and then you can see it starting to take shape. So what I want to do is go in with another shade. Actually, I'm gonna just gonna see what the first of all, I'm gonna see what the Venetian red looks like. It might, I think it's gonna might come out too pinky, but I want to add a bit more texture to it and colour. So it's quite, yeah, it's quite dark under that part. Actually, that bit's working really well there. But we don't want a stronger line there. Try and, that's it. There we go, that looks better. that's looking a better choice of colour. Okay, let's see if we can get a bit more colour in there. I mean, it is still quite light, but we just have to be like patient with it, because we just gotta keep plotting our colours. But even just doing this bit around here today, I mean, it's made even more of a difference. Just want to add some bits going up in there as well. Like that. I mean, it's definitely going to need more of a brown. I might use the raw umber polychromos, so that would be one of the lighter brown shades of brown again. But what we're going to do is what we did around here, is once we've done the highlights and subtracted, then we're just going to define the strands of fur. Oh, just have to watch that camera. So it's going to be darker coming under, but I just need to get the background bits in, so that when we do subtract, you're going to see more like this. Just going to try this one now. So that, yeah, this is the raw umber. So yeah, we're gradually building up the colour here. And again, just take this one through there and flick it up. Like that. It's really coming together the more, you know, each stage that we get to. Okay. So although it's kind of like still looking a bit odd there, once we've shaped it and brought that under and made it darker, it will start looking how it should look. So this has got quite a bit of a, to the brown, I think it's kind of like got a bit of a yellowy orangey tinge to it, so we need to sort of go on top of this one as well. Right, I want a darker colour. Ooh, let's have a look. One of my favourites. This is the Luminance Sepia 50%. It's a really lovely dark creamy brown. So I just want to add this bit in here first of all, just to sort of give it a bit more shape. I think that red is from the mark I made yesterday, or on the previous video. Yeah, that will go because it's going to be a real reddy colour. Okay, so what I want it to do is just add a bit more definition around here, and just through here. And then we have some coming through there. That still needs to be darker. And this bit needs to be dealt with still because it's still such a wide area there, and it really does need this. So just want to, yeah, that's looking better. Just want to sort of not make it so bright and so excuse me, straight looking. Okay, that's better. And then a bit more in there to define it. Oh. Just want to build this up a bit more. I know this is something that we were going to be doing at the end, but sometimes when you see something, it just makes sense to, you know, work on that bit. Just add a bit more. So we've got a bit of darker bit coming through there. And coming through up there. Oh. And we've also got more of a balance of it there as well. So I just want to go through and define that as well. So there was a lighter bit there. Yeah, that's it. And then just want to not do a line as such, but just get some of that fur texture in. So it just gives the eye a bit more shape as well, the eye socket area. So this is great for doing that. This pencil, and it's another one I would recommend. Yeah, see, because we're building it up there, it's adding a bit more dimension to the face, a bit more richness. You can see where I mentioned, like when we were we were going to go over and do this at the end. I think that's already made a difference here, and I think it's just going to make the forehead better as well. So this definitely needs, because I think it's just, although we have put the highlights in, I just think this really does need a bit more of the sepia 50% in it, because it is, quite dark in the middle, and then it's lighter as we go up. So that's when we make the this part more vibrant, and this part is slightly darker but not too dark. So we still want we still want the shape, and we don't want it to, there's the danger as well when you're actually adding darkness to a picture, that you could end up making it look a bit too flat and muddy. So that's something that we need to look out for. So I'm just going to add a bit more. See, that's already working really well. So it's quite dark there. And it also brings out the eyes as well. So I just want to because this is a 50%, it actually looks more like a more purpley browny colour. Just see if did I bring out the proper there we go, is that it? So this is that's the full sepia, which looks like a dark brown, and this is sepia 50%, so it's half the lightness of the pigment. And that's why this is a good one on fur, because sometimes the full sepia is going to be a bit too dark, but it's actually really good for doing darker areas of eyes. So we don't want to go over too far with this, we just want to keep it in the middle. So that it doesn't look flat and then it suddenly just goes out more vibrant and lighter. and you can see that it's really sort of starting to change the way that the fur is going on the forehead. We've still got that bit in there as well. But it's also going to be lighter up there as well. But this part, I don't know, it just doesn't look as good as I think it should. Just lifting that out. It does need the dark, but I think it needs something else as well. So I'm going to go for the Venetian red, just to see what that does. It's just going to need a combination of both and sort of playing around like we did with the ear. And I think I'm just going to put some of the sanguine in there as well. Just want it to sort of blend in a bit better. Yeah, it's a bit better. And then I'm just going to go in with the sepia 50% again. Just going to add a few bits. So we're going to be going lightly on this. Just want to add a bit more there as well. It just needs to be, like I said, dark around here, but then we need to start bringing it in a bit lighter, but it is going to be darker on that point, at that point when we do it anyway. And like I said, we just have to go careful that we don't muddy it. But if you do it lightly enough, then if you find that it's going a bit muddy, then you can lighten it, but take out some of the pigment, but try not to do too many layers over it. But I think that's actually looking better. Yeah, that is really starting to come out. So when we do add the other sort of shades of colour onto there, it's gonna really bring it out a bit more three-dimensional as well. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there for this video. So next time round we're going to be working on around here. So we'll finish off the top layer of that. We'll bring the eye, the top of the eye socket around, and then we'll add that in underneath. And then if we do get that done, then make a start around, you know, doing around here, so then that we can then bring in the rest of it around here. So I'm just going to start bringing it around. So yeah, hopefully we might be able to sort of do that. Depends on how long this bit takes, but it's yeah, it's looking, yeah, it's looking really good. I'm really pleased with it. So just get rid of that. So yeah, thank you for following, and I'll see you on the next tutorial.